Peterborough Patriots versus the Charlestown Chiefs. Brought to you by Sheehan's Rustproofing. The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Are you a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues radio listener? Of course you are. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call real estate superstar Mike Burgoyne today at 314-753-4060 or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com to earn special rates today.
Cut out the coffee, cut out those energy drinks that make you crash, and put yourself in a position to succeed with an energy boost from RockinThatIDLife.com. You'll be energized, focused, and you'll even experience an elevated mood for up to 6 hours. Check out RockinThatIDLife.com to learn more.
A team that was in last place on January 3rd. The players on the bench are bouncing up. History will be made tonight in Boston.
You're watching Let's Go Blues Radio, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast with your hosts Kurt Price, Bill Day, and what appears to be a Peter Dinklage cosplay. So just sit back, grab a beer, and enjoy the best blues hockey talk on YouTube.
Welcome to episode 5 of season 14. This is episode number 486, all-time of the often imitated, never duplicated. I'm David Pumpkins, and I'm going to scare the hell out of you. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to Mike Burgoyne of StrikeWithMike.com and Dustin Paul of RockinThatIDLife.com. Check out letsgoblues.com for links to our online shop, our active Discord, and more. It is Wednesday, October 30th, and we're streaming live to the masses. Make sure to follow us on socials at LGB Radio and like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook. I'm your host, Jeff Ponder, and that's it. Kirk Price and Bill Day are both facing allegations and cannot join me tonight. The agenda for tonight includes some more Blues injury news, recent gameplay, a contract extension, all that and more on this trick or treatery edition of Let's Go Blues Radio. So yes, you heard me right. This is a solo show tonight. Possibility we will see Kirk Price at some point, but yeah, we had some issues come up. Life gets in the way of doing the show sometimes. So unfortunately for Kurt and Bill, actually more unfortunately for me, they could not join me. So I will say, if you are listening live, I will be very active with you tonight. So if you are listening live, let's keep that conversation flowing as you guys normally do. I will definitely be reading comments, and I will be, you'll be my co-host tonight. For those of you that may have remembered the old Z-Man show, which is where I got my radio start, he always said his co-hosts were his audience was his co-host. So I'm kind of adopting that tonight. So if you have any interest in talking blues and want to get your comments featured a little bit more, let's do it. Let's do it. Tonight's the night for you to shine. Let's go ahead and read through. We already got a good couple of comments coming in now. First, we've got Trees. That's right. That is Father Nature, as I like to call him. That was spooky. I was in another tab and thought I was still in a Discord call. Yeah, for those of you, the podcast people won't hear this, but at the very start of the show, I accidentally went live as I'm doing this myself. There's a lot you got to do to get started. Usually I've got assistance. Didn't have that tonight, so I hit live, and boom, there's me just sitting there looking like an idiot. So yeah, I was like, oh, sorry, hang on a second. So yes, I apologize for that. Austin commenting on that as well. Jeff, you're doing great. Thanks, buddy. We've got the Big Beaver saying, good morning, ladies, and the Avs are struggle busing, and I love it. Yeah, also tonight, the Winnipeg Jets, I believe, lost their first game, so they're 8-1-0. I think it's 8-1-0 right now. So that's great. Hopefully that continues. Hopefully they'll have a skid like the Blues had a couple of years ago when they went, what was it? Won the first 2 games, lost 8 and then won 7. So maybe they'll lose 8 in a row. Wouldn't that be phenomenal? Let's see. We've got Trees was out of town for most of the time since the last show, so I missed the games. Looking at the scores, I'm not convinced the Blues didn't do the same thing. Yeah, they that last game especially, we'll get into here in a couple minutes. Baked Beaver says, happy Halloween. And we got Justin Scott. Jeffrey, how are you doing? I hope we're not in typical Blues fan suicidal mode tonight. No, we are not. I don't think that's the case. And he says, well, then him and Baked Beaver have a back and forth. And he says, no, we're not there yet. And no, we are not. Let's just go ahead and get this one out of the way. The Ottawa game was a throwaway game. That's going to be my look at that one. The Montreal game to me was a little bit more concerning. We saw some things in that game that I do not want to see. Ottawa's the burn the tape. I think the Blues even made that joke today on their social media. They said something about they were leaving that game tape in Ottawa, as they should. So yeah, I that's just, it happens. It's going to happen, especially to a team that's middle of the pack. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's get to a couple. Well, first of all, a couple announcements I want to say. First of all, if you're a fan of the Puck Podcast, I am their guest this week. I am not co-hosting like I've done in the past. I am their second period guest, and I talk with them about the Blues, the season, the Thomas injury, where I think they'll finish, that kind of thing. And we also actually even talked about my son being a hockey fan. So if you have any interest in hearing me be interviewed about the St. Louis Blues, check out the Puck Podcast this week with our friends Eddie Garcia and Doug Stolhand. And then also, again, I want to mention the Ponder Cup, Stanley Ponder Cup, coming up 3 to 4 weeks away now. It's on Saturday, November 23rd. We have got so many awesome prizes for the raffle. So if you show up, raffle tickets are $1, 6 for $5, 12 for 10, whatever. You've got a chance to win some really cool stuff. We've got a Philip Broberg jersey for the Blues, Leo Carlson jersey from the Ducks, bunch of Blues hockey tickets, SLU basketball tickets, a PWHL gift basket, a Let's Go Blues radio gift basket, and then other stuff that are still going to be filtering in over the next couple weeks. So, if you have an interest in that, go over to dropinstl.com. Click on the SPCMT tab on the right. That has got all the information on the Stanley Ponder Cup. So make sure you join us for that if you are available on November 23rd. That is the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Things kick off with the ceremonial puck drop at 11 o'clock. All right, let's get to our beers of the episode. We are just rolling right along, aren't we? My beer tonight, first of all, this is official beers of episode number 486. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. Kurt is at C Price 12, and you can follow me at JPonder94. I've been bad about posting on there, but I do plan to change that up and get back into it because I do love that app. But tonight I am drinking, and unfortunately these will probably be off the shelves soon. So if you haven't enjoyed one yourself, go out and get them. Oktoberfest from our friends at Schlafly. It's a great amber lager. Just again, probably my favorite Oktoberfest. It's right there with Sam Adams. But really Oktoberfest, you just can't go wrong. I don't know if I've had a bad Oktoberfest, but yes, love my Schlafly Oktoberfest as I take a drink from my Slimer glass. I guess I should also wish everybody a happy Halloween. Hope you all are enjoying the festivities that are going on. And I know my kid is off school on Friday, which is I don't think I ever had the day off after the, Halloween ever. So that's exciting. Although he doesn't go out and trick or treat, he likes to hand out candy. So he's not going to have a crazy night. But I know when I was a kid, I would have loved having the next day off. All right, so let's get into our, and also throw out there too, for those of you in the chat, let's do a little AMA too. If you guys would like to, ask me anything, that's what AMA stands for, in the chat, since it's just me, let's do it. We can, anything you want to ask, whether it's about the Blues, me, my personal life, history of what I've done in the past, working in the media, What I do now, I'm an open book. So let's throw that out there for the night, too. If any of you in the live chat would like to learn anything new about me or my thoughts on the Blues or whatever, let's do it. Yes, our friend Austin Lynch jumps in the chat. He says an Alamo Draft House glass. Yes, that is from our friends at the Alamo Draft House. A great spot to watch a movie. Love it. I am not a drink beer and watch a movie kind of person. I like to, if I drink beer, it's when I'm watching sports or I'm hanging out with friends. But there's something about the Alamo Draft House that when I go, I'm like, man, I got to have a beer. And I usually have multiple beers. It's a real good time. I've seen a couple movies there. Most recent was the Ghostbusters. Is it Afterlife? Is that what that one was called? So yeah, it's a great spot to watch a game. Let's see. Darren Grease says the NHL sucks without hitting. I'm boycotting. All right. Well, you're tuning into the wrong show, sir. And Winning Unlimited says, hi, Angry Orchard. Guessing that's what he's drinking tonight. So, yeah, well, Angry Orchard's always a good call. Strongbow. If you've never had Strongbow, that is an excellent cider. I was turned on to that about 15 years ago, and it is still my favorite cider. So if you never had Strongbow, I recommend that as well. But, of course, Angry Orchard, one of the classics. Let's get into a little Blues talk here. The Blues did make it in a contract extension this week. They have re-signed Alexei Toropchenko to a 1-year, $1.7 million contract extension. So if for those of you wondering, is that a raise? Yes, it is. Currently, he makes $1.25 million this season. So this is a $450,000 raise. I think it's well warranted. You can get a guy on your fourth line, almost exclusively playing fourth line minutes, does step up into the third line on a pinch. Shit, they've even played him on the first line when they had some injuries. I think a guy, yes, $1.7 million. That does come off as a lot for a fourth liner, but he's a guy who's got great hands. He checks, he forechecks. He's a staple on this team. He's a big man. I think in a pinch, you could put him on the power play and put him in front of the net. He's not going to deflect everything like a Jake Neighbors or get rebounds like him, but he's a guy that will screen the goalie and will definitely help you out there. And again, I think he's just a good team player. He seems like he's always in the right position. He's always doing the right thing on the ice. One of my favorite goals from the past couple seasons was he scored one against the Vancouver Canucks when I was there, and it was right in front of us. He just received a pass at the red line and just outskated. I don't think it was Quinn Hughes, but I know it was one of their quicker defensemen. And he pulled the power move in front and tucked it right under the bar. I think it was on Thatcher Demko too. And just a beautiful goal. So yeah, he's a guy I love having on this team. I mean, when he was a rookie and he got hurt, I remember Doug Armstrong came out and said, like, it's a big loss for us. And to hear that about a fourth liner is interesting, but it's true. He's just a good team player. And I think the Blues are always happy to have him. So I like this deal. 1 year, 1.7. I think with the cap going up, especially, that's not going to kill you. I think it's just a solid fourth line signing. Let's see. Winning Unlimited asks us, did you see the Hockey Hall of Fame game? Is captained by Eric Lindros and PWHL Senior VP Jana Hefford. You said that to me, I believe, on Facebook, Adam, and I actually have not looked into that, but that is really cool. So yeah, the PWHL getting very involved with the Hockey Hall of Fame. That's what we want to see. I mean, it's the best of the best in the female side of the sport. So why wouldn't they have the same type of a relationship that the NHL does? There's plenty of women in the Hall of Fame. There's going to be a lot more over the next couple of years. I love that. I think that's really cool. And then he also asks, who do you want in the Hockey Hall of Fame game November 10th? Turgeon or Paul Stastny? Give me Pierre Turgeon all day. Trust me, I'm a fan. Paul Stastny's the man. But, man, Pierre Turgeon all day. I'll go back to the Winter Classic when they had the alumni game. He looked like a dude who was still in NHL shape. He still could skate. He still had the hands. Obviously, there's a little bit of time has taken its toll on him a little bit, but the dude still looked like a dude who could play in the NHL. So I would love to see Pierre Turgeon, and plus just one of my favorite players growing up. Can't believe I don't have his jersey. I might need to rectify that. One of my favorite players of all time, and I feel like a forgotten all-star for the Blues. A guy that, people talk about the greats in St. Louis. Obviously the names that come across are Pronger, McInnes, the Plagers, Hull, Fedorko. And there's obviously the list keeps going, but I feel like people get to Turgeon pretty low on that list. And I think, man, Pierre Turgeon all day. Like that dude, I mean, I don't want to, I would need to go through it, but my thought is possibly top 10 St. Louis Blue all time, at least top 15, I would think. So maybe that's what we'll do one summer. We'll list our favorite Blues of all time, or what we think would be the best Blues of all time. That's a great question, though. Winning Unlimited says, can you read tarot futures from an Uno deck? I don't believe so, my friend. I do not think so. Justin Scott says he is going to the game Saturday. Oh, that's awesome. Hopefully we'll see some injured Blues come back. We got some news on that here in a minute. Some news from Coach Bannister. We will get to that, but we will get to that after we take a quick commercial break. Again, you are listening to Jeff Ponder and just me and our listeners. This is Let's Go Blues Radio. Don't go anywhere.
It's 11 o'clock.
We'll return after these messages.
As a hockey player, Mike Burgoyne knows a thing or two about making the perfect play. And when it comes to real estate, he's always ready to score the winning goal for his clients. If you're a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues Radio listener looking to score the home of your dreams, you'll receive special rates with Mike. Go ahead, shoot some questions his way, and he'll have the answer quicker than Curtis Joseph on a breakaway.
Curtis Joseph got the pedal down!
Any barriers? Mike will mow them down like Chris Pronger in front of the net. He'll score you your dream home or sell your existing home faster than a Brett Hall one-timer.
Flip past the Hall, he shoots, he scores!
See Burgoyne's real estate prowess in action today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or by calling 314-753-4060. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com, and that phone number is 314-753-4060. Getting Mike Burgoyne on your team will be the boost your power play needs.
Hey guys, it's Jeff. The fun, energetic host of Let's Go Blues Radio. I know I give off a natural energy and cheerful glow, but as I've gotten older, I've realized I need a kick in the pants to get going. I've tried it all, from forcing myself to drink coffee to picking up an energy drink every morning, but none of it provided true, sustainable energy without crash. Luckily, my friend Dustin at RockinThatIDLife.com told me about their product, Energy, which provides exactly what I need. The first thing I do every morning is fill up my shaker bottle with water and a small energy packet, and within minutes of drinking it, my day truly begins. I feel motivated to get going on my work and feel the mental focus take effect as I dive into what I'm doing. I don't crash, and I feel like $1,000,000 throughout the day. Reach out to Dustin today to experience how much better your professional life can be. Email him at rockinThatIDLife@gmail.com and get $10 off your first order. That's rockinThatIDLife.com, and that email again is rockinThatIDLife@gmail.com. Don't let a lack of energy keep you from being who you want to be.
Yes, and as you can see, there are a lot of different ways to stamp out thirst with refreshing Stag beer. Now, one of the most popular is this handy six-pack. People like the six-pack because it saves space in the refrigerator, lets them keep more good, cold Stag beer on hand. And when you've got Stag on hand, you've got a mess.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Well, unlike what our bumper just told us, it is just Ponder, no Price and Day. So that if you are just now tuning in, you're stuck with just me. But if you're listening live, make sure to keep commenting, and you guys are going to be my co-host tonight. So we will roll through. And also, again, why not AMA? If you guys have just random questions you want to ask me anything about me, my life, I don't know, preference on soda. I don't know. Whatever you want to ask me, I'm all for it. Just let me know. Oh, my mom is here. I should have had my mom join me for the show. Hello, Jeff. Hello, Mom. I'm glad you're listening. I am solo tonight, so I hope you like looking at this beautiful mug. I know you do. So some Blues news to get started before we talk about the recent gameplay. Adam Jiricek has been reassigned to the Brantford Bulldogs of the OHL. A lot of people might be looking at that and hearing that and saying, what? Like, he's being reassigned now? You may not have realized it that Jiricek did suffer a knee injury at the 2024 World Junior Championships. The Blues decided to keep him up while he rehabbed, so that way the Blues could keep a close eye on him. And that's a good one. Justin Scott, Jeff, you messed it up, man. Grab a Snickers. Yes, should have had one before the show. And let's see. So again, he was the 16th overall pick in 2024. So again, just wanted to rehab that with the Blues so they can keep a closer eye on him. And he is now going back to the Brantford Bulldogs. I did see a quote. It's actually from Doug Armstrong during training camp. They asked why he wanted to keep Jiricek up. His quote was exactly, quote, "My understanding and my experience with junior teams is when they get these guys back, he's not going to get back and ease him into games. He'll play 3 and 3 nights, and he'll probably play 28 minutes a night. So we want to make sure he's ready for that. He's added some muscle mass. He's worked hard this summer. We're going to continue to get him as strong as possible and then get him off to junior hockey and hope he'll have a great year down there. World Juniors on the horizon, here for him and looking forward to watching him progress." So yeah, that's I think that's a very valid point. You know, these kids, you know, they throw them into these games, and it's not that the juniors are bad to their kids. It's just, you know, they are expected to, hey, you're young, you're going to bounce back. Let's get you into this 3 games in 3 nights. You're going to play 25 to 28 minutes. I get that. So the Blues are just, we want to monitor, make sure this kid is fully healthy before we send him back down to that. So I do think that is a solid move by the Blues to keep him up. But yes, officially, Adam Jiricek, you will be getting prospect updates, I'm sure, throughout the season from various prospect reporters like our friend Michael Meyer. Mike Meyer. Does he go by Mike or Michael? I should know this. He's an actual friend of mine. I call him Mike. Yeah, so if you're looking for any news on him, make sure you follow him on social media as well. So we got a couple questions here. Trees, thoughts on Blues prospects? It's a very vague question. From what I've seen, I am very excited. Let's go ahead and throw a question back up. Yeah, I'm excited. I love what the Blues have in the pipeline right now. Most excited I've been for Blues pipeline since before they started making the playoffs consistently in 2012. I think that, Jimmy Snuggerud is a guy that can step in. I'm going to talk probably tonight a little bit about Bolduc. He's not, and I'm not down on him. I just don't think he's progressed where the Blues want him to be. So I could see once these injured players start coming back, I could see him maybe spending some more time in the AHL just to get him more playing time against still competitive players. It's just, like I said, right now he's kind of expected to get top 6, top 9 minutes. And I'll admit, I think it's kind of overwhelming him. But we'll talk about him probably a little bit later. But guys like Zach Dean, from what I've heard, he looks pretty good down in the AHL. And then Dalibor Dvorsky, I think we'll see him sooner rather than later. The defense, Theo Lindstein, all these other names we've heard, especially the Swedish prospects. I'm very excited to see them. And defensemen take a long time to really, truly ripen and be NHL ready. Adam Jiricek, obviously a guy we're talking about right now. I think he's got a very bright future, but probably 3 to 4 years away until we really see him step into the limelight. I mean, you think about Alex Pietrangelo, every time he got sent down, no offense if you were one of these people, but, the people that maybe don't follow the whole prospect way to the NHL were very upset every time he got sent down. But look at what he turned into, first captain in St. Louis Blues history to raise the Stanley Cup. So clearly they did something right with Pietrangelo, getting him ready. And then Ian Cole, another guy who got sent down a lot. And yes, he has been a journeyman NHLer, but he's still in the league. Teams still value him. So that's what it takes with some of these defensemen. From what I've seen, the Blues prospects are as good as ever. The shelf is very full of very good talent coming through the way. So I do think that the Blues are set up for success over the next couple of years. A couple of these guys aren't going to hit. You just have to expect that. It's going to happen. But when they do, I do think that, it's going to pay off. It's, again, if you have 10 prospects, 6 may hit and be NHL talent. But if the Blues could beat the higher end of that, 6, 7, 8, then you're really talking. But I would expect some of these guys are going to fizzle out a little bit. I don't think that'll be Bolduc, even though I just said what I said. But I do think that some of these guys, it's not going to be every single one of them. If it was, the Blues are going to win 10 cups in 10 years, and that's just not how it works. All right, we got a couple more questions. The Baked Beaver. Do you have a pronger tattoo, and why did you choose your right cheek and not the left? I do not have a Chris Pronger tattoo. I always used to joke that I would get a Pronger tattoo, his portrait on my back, like Steve-O did with himself. But I did not do that. I will say that my Blues Stanley Cup tattoo, if you've not seen it, that is actually an homage to Jordan Binnington. So for those of you on the video, I will show you right now if you've not seen it. Oh, here we go. So those on the podcast, or if you're not watching the video, it's basically the Stanley Cup with a banner going around it that says, "Do I look nervous?" And the story behind that is obviously the quote from Binnington. But when he won the last game of the regular season, and for those who may remember, that year they won the Cup. It was against the Vancouver Canucks, and there was a shootout win. Excuse me. And he ended up making the shootout win, and it just beautiful in the shootout. I remember they won. I looked at my wife and I said, if this man leads us to a Stanley Cup, I will get a tattoo of something with Jordan Binnington. So, of course, when they won the Cup, I racked my brain, and that's what I came up with. And I had a really awesome local designer come up with this as well. He helped me with it. So I do not have a Pronger tattoo, but I do have a Jordan Binnington inspired tattoo. Let's see. Baked Beaver also says, let's talk Holloway and how fire he has looked, let alone Toropchenko and Parayko. Yeah, we'll mention Dylan Holloway a little bit more coming up when we talk about the games. But you can't say enough about how good he's looked. I don't like him at center. The Blues are really hurting at center right now with Robert Thomas out and just nobody to replace him. I will go out on a limb and say the Blues have the worst center depth in the NHL right now. When Thomas comes back, that jumps up a couple spots, but still right now, I don't like the depth. They got a couple good fourth line guys like Sundqvist and even Texier can fill in that role, but and then obviously Faxa. But yeah, right now I think your second and third lines are pretty bare at center. Your first line's very bare right now. I don't think Buchnevich is the answer at center, and I don't think Holloway has been the answer. But Holloway on the wing has looked fantastic, and I do love his ability to shift into the center role when they need it. It's just I don't think that's where his talent truly is. Let's see. Oh, I like this quote here by Divide by Zero. Talking about Jiricek, you have a BJC next door, which those maybe not in the area don't know. BJC is a local hospital. You would be crazy not to supervise the kid's medical issue with what was invested in him. Exactly. Blues took a high pick on him. They've already signed him to an entry-level deal. They're not going to they're going to want to monitor his progress as much as they can. So might as well keep him close. Let's see. Bake Beaver agrees. Dvorsky needs a couple call-ups this season for sure. I think that is coming sooner rather than later. I, again, will go ahead and go out on a limb and say we will see him before Thanksgiving, especially with these injuries piling up and the Blues just needing some scoring punch. I think that could easily be Dvorsky. I do think he's going to get called up sooner than we all thought he would with the injuries we've seen. Then let's see. Again, sorry, usually I have my co-host to vamp for me as I read through comments, but not the case right now. Let's see. Justin Scott. Booch has been absolutely non-existent. I love Buchnevich, but he has been a ghost. I think that goes back to him playing center. I just don't think he is center material. I know he's played it before. I know he's interested in playing it, but his best game is at wing. If you don't have him on left wing, he's not going to produce like you expect him to. Having that extra defensive responsibility, he's a very defensive, responsible player, but I just don't think he's the type of guy that you can really rely on to be your shutdown center. He's not Michael Hanzus, for example, or Jay McClement, Silent J. He's just not that type of player. Not saying Robert Thomas is, but he's a guy that knows the position well in and out. And I know Buchnevich has been trying the last couple seasons, but he's a left wing. I just think they're really spreading his talent thin by putting him at center. So let's see. Divide by 0. We need to draft a goal scorer. I think they have. It's just a matter of these guys have got to develop. This is from Divide by 0, by the way. I think they have the goal scorers in the pipeline. It's just right now you've got to wait for these guys to develop. You know, the real, like, we've got to start picking up talent started 2017, 2018-ish. And then obviously, you know, the team blew up a little bit in 2022. And that's when they started saying, yep, time to start getting the scoring depth. So I do think it's taking time, but some of these guys, you know, again, we've seen Kyrou be the first one to really graduate, even Robert Thomas. But we're going to see Dvorsky. We're going to see Snuggerud. I think there's a couple other guys that could surprise and step up and be good. I mean, Jake Neighbors is a guy who's really stepped up his game. So I do think those guys are coming. It's just, you know, we got to be patient, unfortunately. Let's see. Big Beaver agrees with me. Before Thanksgiving would be awesome for Dvorsky. Give him that chance to shine. Yep, I agree 100%. And he says, Booch gets out of position too often and then getting beat and kind of panics. We saw that in the Ottawa game. There was a lot of bad stuff that happened in that Ottawa game, but that was I think was it the first goal? He was way out of position there, and I think he just reacted, and it led to an easy tap in for I always want to call him Bud Norris. Oh, hell. The Norris on Ottawa. I always want to call him Bud Norris. Those Cardinals fans will know who I'm talking about. But anyway, so we'll do one more comment here, and then we'll get into the next bit of hockey talk. Justin Scott says, I know we're talking about the big loss Thomas has been, but can we talk about Joseph being out? He's not a goal producer like crazy, but look at the energy and effort he brings every game, Jeff. Yeah, I agree. He is a big loss. And again, actually, let's go ahead and read this now. It's a good segue, sir. And of course, I closed it. Let me pull up this news. So there was some updates later today from and Josh Norris. Thank you, Heavy 44. Bannister provided some updates on the injured Blues. He says forward Kasperi Kapanen, who did not finish Tuesday's game against Ottawa, has an upper body injury, is considered day-to-day. He is undergoing evaluation, but will stay on the road trip with the Blues. So that's good news. He is not headed home. He is apparently fine enough to still be with the team. Mathieu Joseph suffered a lower body injury in Saturday's game in Montreal and returned to St. Louis for evaluation. Bannister said the team received good news from his MRI, and the forward is currently day-to-day. I did see that there is a possibility he could play Saturday. So hopefully we will see his energy back in the lineup pretty soon. The last note came on our favorite player here at Let's Go Blues Radio, defenseman Nick Leddy. Initially joined the Blues on their current road trip, but has since returned home to St. Louis, where he will meet with team doctors and receive treatment. Leddy was placed on IR with a lower body injury on October 22nd and has not played since October 15th versus Minnesota. Crazy thought, and I've thought this now for over a year. Put Nicoletti on the wing. The dude's an excellent skater, a great puck mover. You're hurting on offense anyway. You've got plenty of defensemen that you can slot in who are just as good and most are better than Nicoletti. Put the guy on wing, see what he can do. Why not? At least on the power play, have him out there setting up players. See what he can do. I mean, again, he's a defenseman. He's not a forward. He's going to look out of place, at least at first. But, I mean, the Blues have done this in the past with other defensemen who are good skaters. Kevin Shattenkirk's played wing before for the Blues. God, there was somebody else I know used to play a lot of forward for the Blues. In a pinch, I know the Blues back in the day, they put McInnes. I remember they put him on a wing for a couple shifts here and there while they had some injuries. So, I just think, why not? What's it going to hurt? He's not a defenseman. He's not a defensive defenseman. Put him on wing. Let's see what he can do. All right, let's move on. Okay, so let's talk about some of these games, shall we? We'll talk about the good one first. Let me take a sip of my beer. All right. Blues destroyed the Maple Leafs 5-1 Thursday night. I like what my friend Kirk Price said. He says in our notes, not sure how the team that beat Toronto 5-1 is the same team that lost 8-1 to Ottawa. That's crazy. 100%. So a couple game notes in this. Oscar Sundqvist returns and played in 11 minutes and 49 seconds of ice time. He's returning from that torn ACL. Holloway scored 2 goals in this game, so a little more love for Holloway there. Alexander Texier, who I have enjoyed a lot. First goal as a Blue in this game, which, not exactly the greatest goal ever. I thought it was a nice shot. This was reminiscent for me of the Cole Caulfield goal on Saturday against the Blues, the 4th goal of the game for Montreal. A good shot, but one that I think Joseph Woll probably should have had. As they say, he wants that one back. By the way, I hate that fucking line. I hate that. Goalies want every goal back. Come on. You're telling me a goalie is like, oh, that was a good goal. Oh, well. No, every goalie will tell you they should make every single save. Like, even the ones they have no business making saves. Talk to any goalie. They'll say, yeah, I should have come up with that one. They all feel that way. So I hate that phrase of, he wants that one back. They want them all back. Come on. Anyway, so in this game, Kyrou and Buchnevich scored 2 assists each. And the Blues defeated Berube in his first meeting since he was let go with the St. Louis Blues. Binnington made 40 saves on 41 shots. Joseph Woll made 22 saves on 26 shots. We're going to talk about special teams in a little bit, but the Blues were 1 for 2 on the power play, and the Maple Leafs were 0 for 4. So a good showing on special teams for the Blues, which is not a theme of the season so far. Excuse me. I'll say with this game, team play. That's what won this game for the Blues. This was the best team game I've seen them play. I don't want to say in the last 2 seasons, but it's pretty damn close. I mean, it's a top 5er for sure. They looked like a cohesive unit all night. And granted, Toronto, they've had some struggles. They lost, I think it was to Columbus before this, pretty bad, like 4-1 in that one. So they were having struggles at this point. The Blues just compounded that for them. But I thought overall, though, the Blues, they just picked them apart. They were going north, south, east, west. The play in the offensive zone was great. The defensemen were breaking everything up. They were in the passing lanes. They didn't let guys like Austin Matthews have any room at all. I just thought this was an excellent team win for the St. Louis Blues. And a thing that I thought would be a sign of things to come for this road trip. I really thought Toronto is your biggest battle in this 4-game road trip. If they play like this against the other teams, look out. I think I've said that on Twitter, like, look out for the St. Louis Blues. And I'm not saying I figured they'd come out of this trip, maybe 2-2, 3-1 would be hopeful. which they could still go 2-2 because they still got the Philadelphia game coming up. But this game made me feel very confident heading into Montreal and Ottawa. I thought they will lose one of those games. Not a question to me. I thought, it's just not going to happen. They're not going to go through Canada and steamroll these three teams. But I did not think they would lose the way they did after seeing the way they played in Toronto. Very, very, very good game by the St. Louis Blues in this one. Jordan Binnington was phenomenal. He didn't, I don't feel like he had to come up huge a lot, but when he was asked to come up big, he did. He stood up and made some great saves against the Maple Leafs. So, and of course, Craig Berube, they went into this game, you know how it is having a Craig Berube coach team. Those guys wanted to run through a wall for that man in this game, and the Blues just shut them down. So very, very well fought and well-deserved win for the St. Louis Blues. So we've got a couple more questions we'll get to here. Big Beaver talking about my comment on the goalies. Facts, they don't like any goal. Yes. I play in beer league. My good friend Cortland Frost is my goalie on the Force H&A team, and he gave up a goal last night that was just a beauty shot by one of the players, tucked it under the bar. He starts shaking his head, and I skated over it. I'm like, dude, what are you shaking your head about? Oh, I should have gloved that. No, that was a great shot. That was an elite shot in a beer league, man. Like, you're not going to stop them all. So, yeah, that's how the goalies are. Trees asked, any concerns about Hofer so far this year? Ottawa may have been an utter disaster, but he seems shaky more often than not. I didn't like him in the San Jose game. I was actually, if some of you might recall, I was actually calling for him to get taken out after the third goal and asked to put Binnington in. Not because he was playing awful, just because I thought, let's shake it up. And Hofer's not being a world beater right now anyway. He's playing okay, but, let's change it up. So I didn't like him in that game, and obviously I did not like him in Ottawa. Again, we'll get to that game in a minute, that disaster in a minute. But overall, he's been okay. A little shaky to start the year, but sophomore slumps, right? This happens to every player in every sport. I think he's going to work it out. He's a great player. He's proven in his junior career to be a great bounce back goalie like Binnington, a great big game goalie like Binnington. So I'm not worried about Hofer. I think we just got to give him time, let him work through it, and he will be fine. Let's see. Divide by zero. As to that, he says, I have no worries about Hofer. He is very young and he will have bad nights. Yeah, Binnington's had some rough nights. So, and I think most of the listeners on this show, I think, are in agreement with me on Binnington that he's a solid goalie. And, you're going to have bad nights as a goalie. Curtis Joseph gave up a 5 spot. I remember going to a game and thinking, whoa, who put on his jersey tonight? So, yeah, it's going to happen. Big Beaver, very confident in Hofer. Hofer is better than most of the goalies in the league. Woo! So that's basically saying he's one of the best goalies in the world, which he's in the NHL, so that's actually not far off from the truth. And then Waterbug steps in and says, 903 and a shutout across 4 games, not getting nerves at all. Yeah, I agree. I'm not nervous. It's just you want to see him kind of work out of this a little bit. And I'll add, too, the defense has not helped. They have not looked good, especially the last 2 games. Okay, yeah, we got a couple more comments, but we'll go ahead and move on here. So we'll talk about the Canadiens. After that big win against Toronto, they humble the Blues 5-2 Saturday night. Jordan Binnington, we talk about a goalie having a bad game. Not saying he was bad, but he was definitely not Jordan Binnington in this game. 21 saves on 25 shots. Sam Montembeault, 29 saves on 31 shots. I thought he played very well, actually. If it wasn't for him, I think if Jake Allen, sorry, Allen fans, is in net for Montreal still, I think the Blues walk away possibly with a victory there. But, yeah, Montembeault played very well in this game. Power play, which, again, we're going to talk about special teams in a minute. The Blues were 0 for 3 on the power play. Montreal was 1 for 3. So kind of my thoughts on some of these goals that happened. I don't like to go through and break down goals, but there was a lot worth noting, I think, in this game. I thought it was an even game until the Blues' power play really let them down. Granted, Neighbors, he did have a prime chance in front that was stopped on the Blues' first power play of the game. But the power play ends, and then, it was within seconds. I want to say it was about 9 seconds after the power play ended. The Habs skated down the ice on a 2-on-1. Jake Evans picks the top corner while Perunovic, I thought, played it well, played up the middle, blocked the passing lane. Really nice execution from Montreal. They got the puck out of the zone very quickly. The Blues were hemmed into the corner, trying to dig the puck deep before the power play ended. It's stayed there for a good 10, 12 seconds. Power play ends. The puck squirts out to center. Blues had to regroup. All that was back was Perunovic. And again, Jake Evans buries it. Just a nice play by Montreal. But overall, I thought, man, if the Blues could have capitalized on that power play, it is obviously it's a 1-0 Blues lead. You need your power play to come through, and the opposite happens. They don't score, and then within seconds, Montreal skates down and gets a goal. I thought the second goal the Blues gave up, so they got down 2-0, was just the Blues' defense not reading the play. Binnington, I thought, made 2 really nice saves, and these are 2 guys that I've been talking very highly of all season. But I thought Falk and Broberg really didn't read the puck off Binnington's pads, and the puck just kept coming out. Binnington made 2 really nice saves. Now, you could make the case Binnington needs to cover his rebounds, but they were both very good shots. Binnington was scrambling in his net, and Falk and Broberg I don't think they really knew where the puck was the whole time. And Kirby Dach finds an empty net, basically. So, and it's not just them. The forwards, their duty is to come and back check, too. I just thought this was a very ugly goal for the Blues to give up. One, the Canadiens, again, ugly goal, but they don't mind scoring. I thought a really rough play for the Blues defense, which those 2 have been the best Blues defensemen all season. So odd to call them out on something, but just an odd play in general, I thought, by the Blues' defense there. I thought I loved Parayko's goals. The Blues basically scored 2 Jake Neighbors goals to get back into this game. Parayko was just battling in front of the net, did not give up on it. Hockey 101, kids. Any kids that are listening, never give up on the play. And that's what Parayko did. The puck kept coming into the crease, and Montembeault could not find it. The Habs defense was scrambling, just like Falk and Broberg were on the second goal the Blues gave up. And Parayko just kept digging, ended up poking it in for his first of the year. So just a nice goal, and what I call a Jake Neighbors goal now, because Neighbors then scores a very similar goal, kind of. So the Blues broke in, and I think it was Shen and Saad. Saad goes behind the net with the puck, and Neighbors just goes right into his office, right in front of the net, and scores to tie the game at 2 because he's crashing the net again, kids. If you go to the net, you will score goals. And that is what Jake Neighbors did. That kid, he is just always in the right spot nowadays. And I just love it. Well, Justin Scott over here. I'm not ready to shit on Broberg and Falk after 1- game. No, I'm not either. I'm just saying that play was not something we've seen from them all season. I thought that was a very uncharacteristic goal by that pairing. I don't know if they took their eye off the puck, if they, I don't know, weren't aware where Kirby Dach was on the rink. Just a very odd goal on that play. But no, I'm not saying they were the reason for the loss or anything. Just a weird situation with them in goal, or in front of their goalie. All right. And then the game-winning goal, it just came 5 seconds into a Montreal power play. There was a face-off in the Blues end. It goes to the point. I thought the Blues just did not read this. They did not get set fast enough. Kirby Dach gets the puck. 1 touches. It's a beautiful play by Kirby Dach. Don't get me wrong. He gets the pass from the point. 1 touches it back in front, finds Newhook, and it's just a bang-bang play. Binnington has no chance on this goal. And I just thought this was a really nice play by Montreal. But again, I don't think the Blues got set quick enough. You've got to think that when you have an offensive zone face-off with the power play, the goal is, even though you want to work the puck around, the goal is to get it in front of the net. Again, Kirby Dach, side of the net. He's got a chance to shoot there. He had to pivot in order to get a shot on goal because he's a righty from where he was. But if you tie up a stick in front off New Hook, that play doesn't happen. Again, maybe you got Dach skating in by himself, one-on-one with Binnington. But I think you got a better chance of Binnington making that save from that angle. As opposed to a bang-bang play in front. I just thought the Blues, it took them way too long to get set for that power play. And I'll say the fourth goal, I mentioned earlier, the Joseph Woll goal on Alexander Texier. Caulfield streaked up the middle and just beat Binnington low. I thought this was a big backbreaker for the Blues. I'm not putting the loss on Binnington, but that is a save you need to make when your team's down by 1 late in the game. I thought that was just a Binnington. I don't know if he just didn't read it, if Caulfield maybe stuttered the shot more than I realized and drew Binnington into an original shot. I'm not sure what happened there, but I feel like that's one Binnington had to have. He was out far enough, even if he was getting a little screened, to take off the angle and make the save. But just not it's, again, a great shot by Caulfield. Don't get me wrong. Excuse me. But I thought overall just a one that Binnington has to have. That late in the game, you need your goalie to come up with the big save. Excuse me. My goodness. All right. So let's not focus too much. And I'll go ahead and say this now. Damn, sorry. This Senators game, it's a throwaway game. This is a game that you cannot sit and point at and say, oh my God, if they just would have won this game, they could have gone on a tear. You're going to have games like this. It's an 82-game season. Now, if it becomes a trend, they lose this one, then they go into Philadelphia tomorrow night, lose that one 5-1. Then in a couple weeks, they go on another skid where they're losing games 8-1, 4-1. 6-2, stuff like that. I do think that that would become an issue. That would be like, okay, there's something here where team is not showing up for certain games. This, to me, it's a non-starter for me. I just feel like this is a nothing game. It's not one we're going to point at in April if we don't make the playoffs and say, well, if they wouldn't have sucked against Ottawa, because you're not giving up points to a division rival. You're not giving up points to even somebody in the West. You lost a game. This could have been 2-1. Guess what? The result's the exact same. You're still losing a game to an Eastern Conference team. So I don't think this is anything that we need to dwell on, but I will say there were some bad habits in this game that the Blues do obviously need to address, and I'm sure they did heading into the Philadelphia game Thursday night. The Senators gave the Blues a big shit burger to eat. They defeated them 8-1. By the way, if you know that reference, please put it in the chat. Eating a big shit burger. So we did mention him earlier. Mathieu Joseph is out of the lineup with a lower body injury. He was hurt in the final shift of Saturday's game against Montreal and missed this game and will miss the Blues' final game of the 4-game road trip Thursday in Philadelphia. And again, we had that update earlier. Maybe we see him Saturday. It doesn't seem like it's that serious. So hopefully we'll see him in the next week or so. Kasperi Kapanen took his spot on the third line, but oops, he was then hurt after playing 6:37 of ice time before exiting with an upper body injury. And again, we did already have an update on him. So we'll see what's going on with him in the next week or so. So both goalies did play in this game. Hofer scored, had 16 saves on 21 shots. Binnington, 11 saves on 14 shots. Linus Ullmark, I thought, played very well in this game. And I'm not going to say that he's the reason they won, because obviously the Blues needed to keep the puck out of their own net. But he was a factor in the Blues never really getting back into this game. He did make some big saves early on that really kind of stymied the Blues. And then the Senators would skate it down and score a goal. So he made 26 saves on 27 shots. Power play, St. Louis, 1 for 4. Ottawa, 2 for 3, which is not anything you want to see from an Ottawa power play. I wanted to talk about the let's do that. Let's talk about special teams. Let me take a sip of beer. All right. Yeah, Heavy 44 says drink more beer. I will tell you, this is not illness why I'm coughing. I'm an idiot. Here's a little glimpse into my life and a little tip for all of you. We had some leak issues with our sub pump not working in our basement, which is where I'm at right now, and it destroyed a part of our finished side of the basement. So we had to we're ripping up the carpet right now. We got the sub pump fixed, but now it's like we got to replace this carpet. Always wear a mask. I read everywhere best practices when ripping up carpet, wear a mask. Every one of them said wear a mask. I've done about a fourth of the basement and I have not worn a mask the whole time. Sunday I got my biggest chunk done, and since then I have been coughing like crazy. I know it's because I've got dust and other dander and crazy stuff that is flowing through my lungs right now. So, word to the wise, if you are going to be ripping up carpet, please put on a mask. I've got my Darth Vader mask right here that I will be wearing from now on when I do this. But yeah, stupid me. Just like when they say, like, when you're chopping wood and stuff, wear eyewear. And, I know people who don't, and they have gotten splinters in their eye. So Mary Woodruff Ponder says mold. No, it's not mold. I do not have mold in the basement, fortunately. I have rectified that, but we'll get into that, me and you, Mom. I don't think the rest of the world needs to hear that. So let's talk about the Blues special teams. So Dylan Holloway did score on the power play in this game in the third period. But before Holloway scored on the power play, the Blues were 3 for 24 this season, which is a 12.5% mark. So if Holloway doesn't score and this game ends, the Blues would rank 30th at that time. That goal, so 30th in the league out of 32 teams at 12.5. Holloway's goal did improve them a little bit. He raised them to a 16.7%, which is 21st in the NHL. So that is where the Blues sat after games last night against Ottawa. Excuse me. And the PK, just as bad. They are 19 for 27, which is a 70.4%. That is 28th. So just not anything you want to see. And I'll add to the Blues power play. They could have changed the outlook of this game. So they had a power play at 10:21 left at the 10:21 mark of the first period. And they did have a really nice chance in front. I'm sorry, they actually did. No, that was the previous game. That was not a great chance. The only chance they had was Braden Shen from the top of the circle, but there was no traffic in front. Easy save from Linus Ullmark. If this power play scores at this point, I believe, I'm sorry, I should know this, is either 1-0 or 2-0 Senators at this point. That's it. Yeah, I think it was 2-0. It's a 2-1 game at that point with, 50 minutes left in the game. That's nothing. That's an easy overcome by a team that is hungry for a win after suffering a loss to Montreal. If they score on that power play, it's a different game. It's a 2-1 game instead of at the end of the first being 3-0, then 5-0, then 6-0. It completely changes the complexion of the game. So power play has to strike when they get an opportunity. And I'm not saying obviously you're not going to score every power play, but there are moments in the past week, in the past 2 games, where the power play could have made a huge difference for the Blues. And they didn't generate chances. They didn't. I mean, we mentioned the Montreal game, the Jake Evans goal. If they would have kept the puck in the zone at that point rather than letting Montreal break out and have an odd man break, you know, you're not seeing that goal against. It's not a 1-0 game at that point. So there's so many things you could say about this Blues power play that is just letting them down. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah. So just there needs to be some work done. And you think about one of the power play goals, the Blues power play goal, first of the season from Kyrou. That was literally a breakaway, which you don't see on the power play. So that's not even a true power play goal. There was no setup. It was him skating to the zone, beating the defender, one-on-one with the goalie, and then cutting in front and scoring. Yes, you want to see that, but I'm just saying, like, you're not seeing the sustained pressure. You're not seeing pucks getting moved around. You're not seeing the goalie have to look through screens too much. You're not seeing him have to go side to side on these great passes across the middle. Even when Robert Thomas was here still. So there needs to be a change. I don't know if it's a personnel thing, if you need to change the coach on the power play and the penalty kill, but something has got to change because it has been a backbreaker for the St. Louis Blues. We've got, let's go to get some of these comments here. Ken Morris chimes in. He says, yeah, our power play has been terrible so far. Light sound geometry. The team is soft and lack elite skill. Army is a turd. No media accountability. That's harsh. Army feels no pressure. Booch is a bad contract too. Team can't pass. Poor passing and no puck control. They are one and done. I agree with that. It's a soft team, poor team. It's Army, terrible roster creation. Somebody's a little upset. I get it. I totally get it. This team was a perennial cup favorite for years, and now we're having to go through this retool, and that takes a toll on a fan base. So I totally get that. But I do think they are on the upswing. I think that by the time Steen takes over, this team will be a playoff team at the very least, and within a couple of years, a cup team. I do like their pipeline, as I talked about earlier, for their prospects. But yeah, I get it. I get the frustration. I get the anger, especially right now with all these injuries. It's hard to watch at points. I mean, I'll admit, I didn't watch the whole Ottawa game. I had to come back after the game to watch some of it because when it became 5-0, I just had enough. I was like, I can't do this. I don't want to sit here and watch this. So I watched the rest of it this morning on replay, and not fun. So in this game, Adam Gaudette, of course, to add insult to injury, scored 2 goals against the Blues. He was the guy who was acquired in the Ryan O'Reilly trade. He played a couple games up here in St. Louis, mostly played in Springfield. He was not re-signed this past summer. And, of course, he comes back to bite the Blues. 2 goals in this game. And the Blues' lack of center depth, I thought, really showed in this game for a couple of reasons. Obviously, you got 1 goal in a game that really you were, I don't want to say expected to win, but you should have at least put up a better fight. I thought, again, just there's no, I don't even know how to put this. You see a lot of puck chasing from the centers right now. It's a lot of, okay, I'm going to go to this guy. Okay, I'm going to go to this guy. It's a lack of awareness, I guess, a lack of defensive awareness from some of these centers, Buchnevich, Holloway, and it's just it's leaving guys open. It's creating issues. The first goal I thought was scored purely because Buchnevich couldn't keep up with his man, and yes, Josh Norris, thank you, Heavy 44. He one time did past Hofer. That Buchnevich just did not play that one right. I think if you've got a Robert Thomas, and again, I know Thomas doesn't play 60 minutes, but a Thomas, a Foxa, even a Sundquist, and then, whatever plug-in center 2 that the Blues just do not have right now. I don't think he's as open as he was. Buchnevich was trailing behind the play. I feel like he just misread it. He just misread the play. And then I thought the second goal was Schen's inability to tie up his man or take the body. I thought he tried to deflect the shot. Like he let the guy get the pass and thought, then I'll steal the puck or I'll deflect it. I'll lift his stick last minute, whatever. But the puck, he let the guy get the puck and then he tried to stick his stick in front of it. And it was just a mistake. It basically let Noah Gregor receive the pass and get a nice chance on Hofer. Hofer did not have a great game in this game, don't get me wrong, but that was a great shot, and it should have never happened. Braden Schenn is a feisty guy. We've seen him knock guys out right there in front of his own net, and I just don't think he played this well at all. And obviously, he is normally a center, so you can make the claim that the injuries and the lack of a second line center didn't really play in much here. But yeah, I just thought you got to body this guy. Don't let him get that shot off. Don't try to deflect it. You lift his stick before the puck gets to him. And this is all in hindsight. This is all a beer league guy talking, but I just don't like the way Schenn played that. I was watching the Canadian broadcast. Somebody said that Jamie Rivers said that there's not much Schenn could have done there. I don't know if he truly said that, but if he did, I completely disagree. I just think Schenn, he didn't use his body on the play. Again, hockey 101. You take the body, never take the puck. And I'm not saying you need to light guys up. I'm saying don't let them get shots off. If you have a chance to body someone up and not let them use their wrists to get a shot on goal, that's what you do. And I just don't feel like Schenn did that on this play. So there's your 2 first goals of the game, puts the Senators up 2-0. Blues already in a hole. And then again, like I said, you got that power play that just sank the ship. And the Senators just went on a roll. Yeah, and so that's most of my points. I know Kurt's got a ton of information in here. Let's see. He says, this was the worst game I've seen the Blues play in a long time. They just didn't have it in this game. Sure, they played better for about 8 minutes to start the second period, but the play still wasn't very good, and they regressed after that. 3 goals against in the first period, 3 goals against in the second, and 2 goals against in the third. Woof. It's not too often where I say the effort wasn't there, but it just didn't seem like the Blues cared to win this game. So much sloppiness, mishandling of the puck, passes weren't connecting. They didn't have a lot of offensive zone time, very few, if any, high-danger chances. Everything seemed to be from outside. It was men against boys for 95% of this game. Yeah, I agree. St. Louis made Ottawa look like a cup contender. He goes on and on and on. I'm sure there's a lot of this he wants to say himself, but we just hour and a half show, Kurt. But no, I appreciate the commentary. I wish I could read through this a little more for you, but let's go ahead and move on. Again, throwaway game for me. Unless this becomes a trend, I am putting this one in the back of my memory and saying, let's see what they do in Philadelphia. And again, if we're, 3 weeks down the line and they've had a couple more losses like this, then yeah, I am bringing this back to the forefront of my memory. And I'm saying, this is an issue. We've got to figure this out. Why is this happening every couple of games? But right now, early in the season, they just didn't have it. It would have been, and this game really would be a throwaway for me if they would have won the Montreal game. If they go 2-0 on this trip and then get blown out in Ottawa and then they either play well or win against Philadelphia, really no issue at all. Shit happens. It's one game. So I will still stand by that a little bit and say, yeah, I think we just need to say it's a game. It happens. We'll see what they do Thursday in Philadelphia, 6:00 start in that one, by the way. We have got a lot of chatter going on. Let's see. Oh boy. Lights on Geometry and looks like Big Beaver are getting to it a little bit about about his comments, Lights on Geometry's comments on his oh boy. Yeah, it's getting a little feisty there. He's saying that Big Beaver is drinking the Kool-Aid, blue Kool-Aid good. Justin Scott chimes in, says, you know why the power play is so criticized, Jeff? We all know that you need the power play because the NHL calls 15 penalties a game, so your power play has to be good. You remember when 5-on-5 was prominent? I'm with you, Justin. I am all for letting calls go if it's consistent. If it's consistent, we're only going to call the egregious stuff. Give me 2 penalties a game. I don't give a shit. I'm all for 5-on-5. Back when the NHL had its first lockout in 2005, they really started hacking down on penalties, and I hated that, and I still do. I still hate seeing teams like, look at Boston. They made it to the Stanley Cup final in 2019 because of their power play. Well, then you get to Game 7, and the referees put the puck in their whistle in their pocket, and it's like, no wonder the Blues came out and won that game big, because Boston relied on their power play. So, and nothing against Boston. They were a great team. I mean, they were 1 win away from winning the Stanley Cup that year. But it's just, that to me is where you win hockey games is 5-on-5. So when you see some teams get 6 power plays in a game, it's like, come on, did you really need to call all of those? It's just, for me, I'm just not a fan of the power play being such an important part of the game. But it is still an important part, even back in the day. You got an Edmonton Oilers team in the 80s that would score 1 out of 2 times. They might get 2 power plays a game, but they're putting up a power play goal. It's always been important, so you got to be able to do it. And the Blues right now just are not doing it. Let's see. Whoa, there's a lot going on in this chat. He says it's a bad roster. No other way to see it. I do disagree. I like the Blues roster in terms of I think 1 year from being expecting a playoff berth. I don't hate this roster. I think it's fine. Just, we need to see a better effort than what we saw against Ottawa. Let's see. He does say we have a decent tandem. I agree. I think we have one of the best tandems in the NHL. Baked Beaver says Avs lose 5-2. Well, you love seeing that. And Heavy 44, the chatter is great. Yes, it is. 100%. I'm with you. So we are getting towards the end of the show here, folks. Can't believe it's been an hour and 12 minutes. So I will say again, if you guys have any questions for me, just thoughts on the Blues in general, or anything else pertaining to my life or anything I'm doing, I am more than happy to answer it. Ask me anything. AMA. We will go until I run out of things to talk about in the chat. So anything you want to ask, that's fine too. But yeah, just why not? You guys are my co-hosts tonight, so go ahead and bring it. I'm ready. Next up for the Blues, again, we've talked about it a couple times. Thursday, they play in Philadelphia to close out that homestand. The road trip. What was it that Kurt called it last year? He called it a road stand. Yeah. To close out the road stand, the Blues play Philadelphia 6:00 tomorrow night on Halloween. Saturday versus Toronto. That's in St. Louis at 6:00. I know Justin Scott said he will be there. I was offered tickets, but I unfortunately will be out of town. That is Teacher Appreciation Night. So I know my wife's bummed too that we're going to miss that one. But still, very, very cool that they have that night. So Justin, enjoy that. Tuesday, November 5th, they are playing Tampa Bay at 7:00. That is at home. And then again at home, Thursday, November 7th versus Ottawa at 7:00. I would imagine our next show will be between those two games, Wednesday, November 6th. And of course, like always, we'll probably have it on Wednesday. I will have a co-host for that show. If I don't have Kurt or Bill, I will ask somebody else. This was just a last minute. Both guys couldn't do it. And I said, screw it. We're going live anyway. Just because I love you guys. That's why. I just love you motherfuckers. Thursday, November 7th versus Utah. So that's the Blues' first game against Utah in St. Louis. And that is part of a 5-game homestand. So we'll have, that'll be 2 more games at home in that 5-game homestand. So hopefully the Blues get a little bit of home cooking and get a couple wins after that disastrous loss to Ottawa and not so great loss to Montreal. Let's see. we've got Justin Scott. The Blues have depth. They just have to put it all together. Most teams in the NHL don't have the depth we do offensively. I don't know if I fully agree with that, Justin. They've got really good bottom six depth, but I would love to see them. And again, it's got to be somebody who would help them in the long run, not just this season. I'd love to see a second line center brought in, and I'd love, if at all possible, to have another top six winger too that the Blues could plug in. Again, I think maybe that becomes an Alexander Bolduc, a Dalibor Dvorsky. Shit, next year, who knows? Jimmy Snuggerud might jump onto the scene and be fantastic as a rookie. But yeah, right now, I'm not a big fan of their offensive depth. Bottom six, they look good. I love the energy those guys bring, but top six, I'd like to see a little bit more. Oh, this chatter is actually quite fun. Yeah, Justin Scott, that's true. He says, well, being a teacher, I got to go, right? Yeah, and they got a pretty cool giveaway. I think it might be is it a fanny pack? I don't know. I can't remember. Either way, well, I don't have anything for rapid fire tidbits. So I'm done. This was a fun show, guys. Thank you, everyone. Anyway, I've got, like I said, I will gladly answer any questions you guys might have before we wrap up here. But first of all, happy Halloween, everyone. I know this is normally we have a fun little Halloween show. I was going to get dressed up today and do David Pumpkins, which is what I'm going to be tomorrow. But like I said, it's last minute. I was like, I just got to get everything ready. You have to pay for the fanny pack. I was like, "Fuck that, mate." Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a theme ticket. Yeah, you gotta buy the theme ticket if you want to do that. Yeah. So that's it for me. Again, remember, folks, and I'm going to take this time just because it's my show tonight. November 23rd, the Stanley Ponder Cup. Again, we've got some really awesome prizes. If you go over to dropinstl.com and you go over to the tab that says SPMCT, hover over it or click it if you're on your phone. Go to the raffles section. And that's a great section because it's got everything right now that we know of that we'll have everything we have for the raffle right now. And we'll be adding to that in the next couple of weeks as we always have stuff filtering in, even last minute. But we've got a couple jerseys, NHL jerseys. We've got tickets to Blues games. One's for the Hall of Fame game on January 25th, which is really awesome. We've got some SLU basketball tickets. We've got a PWHL basket. We got a Let's Go Blues radio basket. Plenty of stuff going on. So, again, check that out. And it's bad hockey. We're supporting a friend's daughter who is going through leukemia, chemotherapy right now. So all proceeds go to her. So if you just show up, buy a beer, buy a hot dog, buy a pizza, whatever, put your money, anything into the rink at all, some of that money will go back to our friend Evelyn Parks. So we encourage you to please show up and show your support for such an awesome cause. We do have a couple questions that rolled in. So let's see. Ken Morris, Jeff, what is your favorite hockey book and what is your favorite horror novel or movie? Oh, man. Okay, well, I got to think about the hockey book. I've got them all packed away right now, but there's some really good ones. But the favorite horror novel or movie, I think I want to say it's the same answer for both. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. I mean, I got to say The Shining definitely is my favorite horror novel. And I know that's kind of cliche, but it is really well done. And I'm not normally a big Stephen King guy, but I thought that one was so well done. And then the movie, of course, with Jack Nicholson, just unbelievable. But I got to say, does Alien, the original Alien, does that fall under horror movie or is that sci-fi? If that one counts as horror, which I think it is, That's got to be number one for me if it's not The Shining. Just such a well done movie. Sigourney Weaver is fantastic, ageless, by the way, still just a beautiful woman. I gotta say, yeah, Alien. I mean, the scene with the alien bursting out of the chest, the first time we ever saw that. I mean, obviously they've done that a shit ton now in all their movies. I just saw Romulus, the latest Alien movie. I thought that one was really well done too. The original Alien. That's my answer. I'm gonna go with that. All right, okay. Hockey book. I'm drawing a blank on the name. It's the Wayne Gretzky book. 99. I think it's just called 99, and then it's like, is it called 99? 99 Stories of the Game, I think is what it's called. But yeah, it's actually done by Wayne Gretzky himself. I can't remember, somebody co-wrote it with him, but that's just a great book. I mean, just reading about all the greatness that he did. The Ken Dryden one is really well done too. It's mostly autobiographies for me that I like to read when it comes to hockey. What was the one? Game Change by Ken Dryden. It was actually about Steve Montador that he wrote. So, and Ken Dryden, for those who don't know, is a genius. Not just a great hockey guy, but a very, very smart, well-educated man. So that was a great book. The Boys of Winter is another good one. That's Team USA. Story of 1980 Olympic team. So I don't know, Ken, with you being Canadian, I know you know the story of Lake Placid 1980, but don't know if you know about the book, The Boys of Winter. That one's really good. If you have any teenagers that might be interested in reading about hockey, I remember there was a book I liked as a kid. It was called The Iceman. It was about a teenager who basically is going through puberty and trying to play hockey and basically deciding if that's going to be his career path or not. That was an excellent book that I read as a kid. That I remember a lot of, just because it resonated so well with me because I was going through the same thing. Anyway, so we've got Heavy 44 weighs in, and he says Heaven 1995 Devils video on YouTube best. All right, well, check that one out. So then we've got, let's see. Well, Justin Scott, Jeff, you messaged me after the show. Surely, sir, of course. Baked Beaver says, thanks for still doing the show, Ponder. Look forward to it. I love doing the show, even solo. I'll admit, this is probably the most nervous I've been doing a show because I'm like, is this going to go well? I think it went okay. We did a good job. You guys were awesome co-hosts for me. Baked Beaver says, Jeff likes R.L. Stein. As a kid, I did love R.L. Stein. So, yeah, I did. I was an English major in college. I have an English degree. So, that's all book jokes are always welcome with me. So love that. Heavy 44 Above and Beyond, Wayne Gretzky. Okay, I don't think, is that the same one I was talking about, or is that a different one? I think that's a different one. So yeah, if not, I will definitely check that one out. Classic 90s hockey. Okay. I'm guessing that's a book title. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, so awesome. Thanks everybody. This has been fun. Maybe we should do an Ask Me Anything over the summer sometime. That could be fun. But I think we're going to go ahead and wrap her up, guys. We had a good show today. Very good. Thank you guys for participating. It was a lot of fun doing this, even though the rest of the guys weren't here. I hope you all have an awesome Halloween. I hope the Blues get us a nice win tomorrow night, and we'll be talking about that next Wednesday. So thanks to our amazing sponsors, StrikeWithMike.com and RockinThatIDLife.com. That will wrap up episode 5 of season 14 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. We'll talk to you next week. Okay. Hey, there we go. Heavy 44 does say for his classic 90s hockey, and then his Above and Beyond Wayne Gretzky and the Heaven 1995 Devils video. Those are good 90s hockey documentaries. So there you go. Check those out. And Baked Beaver also says, thanks. Have a good night, Ponder. You too, sir. Thank you very much for tuning in. All right, for Bill Day and Kirk Price and my co-host, the live audience, Ken Morris. All right, I got a comment because this is great. Tales from the St. Louis Blues locker room, Bob Plager. That is a great one. And of course, the 99 things you should do and know before any Blues fan dies or whatever it's called. Jeremy Rutherford's book, fantastic. Very well done. Love that one. So many great stories in that. There's a Stanley Cup edition too. So definitely want to give him a plug on that. Friend of the show, Jeremy Rutherford. We love you, buddy, and always appreciate reading those great Blues stories. Again, 99 different Blues stories. So why would you not want to read that? For Bill Day and Kirk Price, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, don't suck, Blues. Let's go, Blues.
A Mark Goodson television production.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
I found prints! No, fingerprints. I don't think so.